The year's 1998, and 2 people died. And then the bill was passed.
P.S. It's actually not the end. There's more to the video.
It's time to get serious.
Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. were murdered because one was gay and the other African American. But they didn't know each other. So you know what they did?
Hired a samurai, except they didn't because they were dead.
They just hired a congressman. Except they didn't because they were dead, and congressmen can't be hired unless you are the government.
Now the year is 2001. Friends is still on air, and we've just completed our first Space Odyssey. Congress has finally gotten its act together and is ready to pass the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act of 2001. Also known as the HCPA.
Sponsored by Edward Kennedy.
So all was going well, and then it died in committee. And then they tried again, 3 more times actually. But it died in committee. And then they tried again, and it didn't die in committee. And that's what we're talking about.
But this bill faced some serious opposition. The Democrats were like, hey, if you're killed if you're gay, that's a hate crime, right? And the Republicans said, stop impeding on my free speech, you liberals! And then, after being compared to 2 separate George Orwell novels, 1984 and Animal Farm, it passed in the House of Representatives. And then, on to the Senate, where, plot twist, it was added to the National Defense Authorization Act as a rider. And then, it passed in the Senate. So it was published in conference. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Here we are with Mr. Skeleton, who apparently sponsored the National Defense Authorization Act, which places the budget and expenditures for the U.S. How do you feel about the rider, Mr. Skeleton?
And personally I find
Very nice input, Mr. Skeleton.
I didn't even get to say
And now a secondary message from our sponsors.
And now a tertiary message from our sponsors.
John, I don't love you anymore,
And now back to your regularly scheduled interview.
Get out of my house! And then it moved on to the president, where it was signed into law. Thanks, Obama. But no, seriously, thanks. And Obama was all like,
My fellow Americans, Attorney General Eric Holder and several representatives and senators were at the signing speech, as well as Shepard's and Byrd's families. For a very long time, the nation has suffered controversy in society over hate crime legislation. And by finally signing the bill into law, we have taken another step towards a more perfect union.
So, in summary, here in the Senate floor, I just got this new Matthew Shepard Act here. Fun to kill in conference committees. But you know what I like a lot more than the Matthew Shepard Act? The National Defense Authorization Act. In fact, I'm a lot more proud of all these National Defense Authorization Acts I've had passed than anything to do with LGBT rights. It's like the Founding Fathers once said, not all hate crimes are created equal, unless they are attached to the National Defense Authorization Act.
The passage of this act expands the 1969 United States federal hate crime law to include crimes motivated by a person's actual or perceived gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability, and thus allows such crimes to be investigated and prosecuted in the same level of hate crimes as others. And that's it. Bye!